Hi everyone, welcome to an episode of Joey's Scarf. My name is Lynda. You can find me all over as Lynda Grace. That's Lynda with a Y. Today is September 19th, 2024, and I'm coming to you from Monroe, New Jersey, and that's the middle part of the state. September's been pretty nice here. Had some really lovely days. The heat has gone away. We're now in the temperatures around 80, high 70s, around 80. So it's been pretty nice. This is a knitting, crochet, and yarn podcast. And that's what I'm here to talk about mostly. I will give you some updates on what's going on in my life, what I've been up to, and but mostly it's going to be what I've been working on, my finished objects, and things that I'm planning on, and that kind of thing. The name of the podcast, Joey's Scarf, is dedicated to my son, Joe. He passed away from colon cancer at the age of 34, about 13 years ago. So the name Joey's Scarf was for the scarf that I knit for him while he was going through chemo. So that's the history behind the name of the podcast. I do have a few new subscribers, so I wanted to just tell you that. So, what I've been up to, last episode, I talked about a kitchen renovation that I'm planning on, and I was complaining about the process because it wasn't going very smoothly. So an update to that is that all of the logistical problems have been straightened out. My cabinets are on order. They should be getting here September 26th, and then the project will start. So right now, this project hasn't started, but it's on its way. Everything's been ordered, and by next podcast, I probably will be able to show you my updated kitchen. So I'm going to start with some finished objects, and the first one I have is a pair of gloves that I knit, and I was inspired by Victoria from Victoria Knits. She had knit a pair on one of her last podcasts, and actually she knits gloves, very beautiful gloves, and I was inspired to try a pair. So this is my attempt at knitting gloves with fingers, and I did okay. I've knit them before. It's been a while, and they're not as difficult as you might think. There is the challenge of the gaps between the fingers. The way they're made, you're doing a finger at a time, and yes, there's gaps in between that you have to pick up stitches or wait till the end and then just sew them up, sew the gaps up. The first hand that I did, the first glove I made, the gaps were quite wide, and I did have to do a lot of sewing. The second one, I learned a lot from the first, and the gaps weren't as big, and I just picked up some extra stitches in between as I was knitting the fingers, and that seemed to help. And they're not perfect, but I think they're pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool that I could do this. I am mostly an accessory knitter. I like to knit small things like gloves and hats and scarves and shawls, mainly because you don't have to worry too much about the fit. I have attempted sweaters before, and I just can't seem to get the fit perfect. And I don't know enough about sizing and gauge and all of that stuff. Even though I've been knitting for years, that is still the mystery for me. So I stick to these kind of things, which is just as rewarding for me to make, and it satisfies the creative need. And it also, I don't know if I mentioned, but I am a recent widow. My husband passed away in February. So knitting has really been helpful to keep me, I don't want to say grounded, but just to have something to take my mind off of things. It's very meditative and rewarding because at the end you wind up with something. And yeah, so knitting is it for me. I had lost interest when Ross was ill, and I was taking care of him, but I decided to pick it up again, and I've been really into it again. So yeah, my first finished object, the yarn. And I often wonder, maybe you can answer this question for me. I know that every podcast sort of follows a formula, sort of. We all talk about the same kind of things, and we talk about the yarn that we used and all of that stuff. And I wonder how many of you, if I say to you that this yarn was from Miss Babs, and I think it was the Yowza that she makes, and I'm not sure what the colorway is, but do you really like to hear that? Do you really like to know about that? Because so many times I throw the ball band away and I don't have that information, and I'm wondering if people really look forward to knowing what the yarn actually is. Just curious. So that's my first finished object. Okay. Next is a pair of socks that I finished. This, I talked about this on an Instagram post, I believe. I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough. This is a 50-gram ball of DK weight, and it is Miss Babs yarn, actually. I thought I could make a pair of socks with one skein. I have made the leg a little longer. If I had made them shorter, I probably would have had enough. But I finished one sock, and then when I went to do the second sock, I got up to about here. Okay, first of all, let me start over again. Initially, with the first sock, I didn't have the different color toe. I had knit the whole thing with this yarn. So when I finished the whole sock with this yarn, now I can tell the story. When I went to do the second sock, I got up to here, about here, and I ran out of yarn. So I couldn't find this same yarn. So what I did was I took out this first sock, I ripped it back to here, and I put in a different color toe. So that's how I managed to fix that problem. It was a little, it wasn't too bad to rip out the toe and then just put in a different color toe. And I'm glad I did that because it looks nice. The toes look nice this way. And notice I did a heel turn and gusset, which I'm getting better at doing that. And I think I kind of like it. I kind of like the way it fits. So I think the more practice I have, the better I'm going to be getting at that. Yeah, so these are nice thick socks. They're going to be nice for the winter time. That's my second finished object. Okay. All right. Third finished object. This is, let me get this right. This is the Dustland Skinny Scarf by Stephen West. And I will put the information below of the patterns that I use. The first thing I showed you, the gloves. This is a pattern called the Easy Peasy Knitted Gloves. And it was very easy to follow. I think this pattern was her first pattern that she ever wrote. So there are some typos and maybe some numbers that aren't quite correct. I think, I don't know if it was her or me, but it's very, the instructions are really clear. And it's by Propabel. But again, I will put all that information in the description box below. So anyway, back to this scarf. I had made, if you look at the last episode, I had made one of these, my first attempt, and it was, first of all, the pattern is very simple. It's a very simple pattern as far as there's no complicated stitches. It's all common, easy stitches. If you know how to knit and purl, you could make one of these. This yarn is Chelsea Luxe yarn, and it's a DK weight. The color is Amber Canyon. I don't know if she makes this anymore, but that's her. She's a New Jersey dyer. She does beautiful work. So anyway, this is my second attempt at the Dustland Skinny Scarf, and it really came out perfect, I have to say. I really paid attention to what I was doing, and when you do that, things work out. Pardon the microphone, there might be some static there as I put this on, but it's a cute little scarf. It really is, and I will make probably another one of these, but you can wear it so many different ways. Let me go it this way. And it's nice because there's not a lot of gathering around at the neck. And I just love that the texture is all different. And it's pretty. I really like it. Oh, sorry. So that is my second, and I think new and improved, Dustland Skinny Scarf. Okay. Just rolling through these. All right. This one I am very, very proud of. This is the Musselburgh Hat. I have been eyeing this hat, this pattern, for so long. And it was intimidating to me. I read the description that Yolanda, not Yolanda, her name is Isolda. I read the description in her pattern page, and it talked about gauge, and which scared me off right away. And it just sounded really, really complicated. So I'd look at it, I'd want to make it, and I can't. I don't think I can do it. I'm not very confident. And then I was going through some YouTube videos, just browsing around, and this video popped up instructing how to do the crocheted pinhole cast on for the Musselburgh hat. And I watched the video and I said, I think I can do that, and I think I'm going to give this hat a try. So I bought the pattern. I watched Isolde's. She also has videos on the beginning, and she goes through the whole thing, all of the parts that may seem intimidating. She goes through on this YouTube video, and I'll put links to those. The pinhole cast on, the crocheted pinhole cast on, Isolde's instructions that might clarify a couple, some difficulties. And I guess people have had difficulties, and that's why she put out the video. But after watching both of those videos, it gave me the confidence to try. And once I started doing it, everything fell into place and it made sense to me. So this is my Musselburgh hat. And I'm sure everyone is probably familiar with this hat. There are over 25,000 projects. So this is not a new thing. But anyway, you work it basically as a tube. And then once you're done, see if I can get this to work. One end fits inside the other end, and it makes a double thickness hat. And this yarn it's sock yarn, and I've had this in my stash for years. It takes one skein, which is nice, and you can wear it slouchy, you can wear it folded up. So I'm going to put it on, fold it up. It folds up with a nice long fold up rim, so it's kind of like 4-ply for warm. So that's it folded up. And then if you want to unfold it, you can wear it slouchy like that. And ta-da! Now, the beauty of this really is I did it all in one color because I just wanted to get the pattern down. There is a lot of stockinette in this. I mean, it goes on forever. But again, it's meditative, TV watching, knitting. The nice thing about this is you can make it different colors. So if you did half the hat in one color and then half the hat in another color, I wish I had an example to show you, but if you look up the pattern, you'll see it makes a reversible hat basically with two different sides. I used a size 2.5 US knitting needle. I started out doing magic loop until all the increases were done, and then I switched over to a 16-inch circular needle to do the rest of the on and on stockinette stitches. And I followed the pattern. I actually did the gauge thing. I actually measured my gauge. With this yarn and the needles I was using, I got a gauge of 7. And this was the adult medium hat. and I followed the pattern. As far as length goes, I knit this straight knitting to 19.5 inches. So that this hat is probably about 22 or 23 inches long, like this. So I'm really excited about this, and of course I'm going to make another one, and I started another one. This is my only work in progress. Started another one with this yarn, and this is again Chelsea Lux. This is her Christina, who's Chelsea Lux, has chickens, and she had a line of yarn named after the color, the different colors of her chickens. I don't know which one this is. I think these are one of a kind. She doesn't, I don't think she dyes these. Once she does one, then that's it. But anyway, that's what it looks like. Knit up. I just started this one. Now this one I'm using the same needle, but the yarn is a little thicker. So I'm getting a gauge of 8. A gauge of 8. So that's going to affect the stitch count and all of that stuff. So anyway, I'm excited about this. And what I'm going to do with this one, though, is I'm going to do half in this color and half in that color. So when you turn it one way, it'll be this color hat, and the other way it'll be this color hat. And I'm anxious to see how that's going to turn out. So I had posted a picture of my hat, my Musselburgh hat, on Instagram today, and someone commented that they had tried making one and it was just coming out so large. And I think if you follow the instructions for the gauge, it should come out pretty perfect. So try again. That's my advice, because I've been eyeing this hat for a very long time. I'm glad I gave it a try again. So that's it for my knitting. I think I've done quite a bit of knitting. And let's see, what did last weekend was the New Jersey Sheep and Wool Festival, which is a small festival that they have every year. And I usually go. I think I missed one last year. I didn't get to go. But my son-in-law Derek and my daughter Jen were kind enough to accompany me. And Jen is a potential knitter. She tries. But I think she's more in love with the yarn, because she likes to see the colors and touch the yarn and feel the softness, and she likes to have her little basket of yarn with all the different colors. So yeah, she enjoyed the festival, and Derek's pretty cooperative too. I think he liked there's animals there, sheep and all of that stuff, though that could be interesting for him. And it's a small festival, so you're not there for hours. They had enough vendors, enough yarn dyers there to make it interesting for us. What's with this hair? So I, of course, walked away with some yarn, and with the idea that, I don't know, I was going to make another Musselburgh hat. And so I chose these 2 skeins. And this is from Angoraonline.com. I'll put both of these are from Angoraonline.com. And again, everything will be in the description box. And I thought this would be nice for one side of the hat, and then a solid kind of solid on the other side of the hat. So these will be, I don't know, I've already, by the time I make the second one, am I going to get kind of tired of all of the stockinette? But they're such pretty yarns, and that will keep it interesting for me. And I think I'm going to make another skinny scarf too. So that's going to be one of my next projects. And then, oh, and I also got this one too, just because it was sparkly and I liked it, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. And this is from, again, Angoraonline. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in this, but sparkle, and I'm attracted to it. These are all sock yarns. Okay. And my favorite yarn store in New Jersey, where around the area that I live, is called Wool Bearers. Again, putting these in the description box. This is a gradient set. She had a sample of a shawl there using this, and she gave me the name of the sample, and when I went to look online, I could not find it. So I'm not sure what this is going to become. Maybe just a triangular shawl. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but look at these colors. How could I pass this up? But anyway, Wool Bearers in Mount Holly, New Jersey, and Myra is the owner, and she's been there forever, and I'm very happy that she continues to keep her store going. It's not a common thing. A lot of yarn shops have gone out of business, and Myra keeps going. So she was at the New Jersey Sheep and Wool Festival, and I stopped by her booth. This is what I got. Maybe a little short story about Ross. Ross never had any of his own children. He was a teacher for 30 years, and those were his kids. And he was one of the favorite teachers. You know, he was the cool guy. And Ross had his very best friend, Howie. They met while teaching. They were both new young teachers, and that they met at the school where they taught, and they remained friends forever, for over 50 years. So Ross and Howie had this little thing that they did. I don't know how it worked, but it amazed the kids. Now, Ross would, when my kids were little, and he used to do this for all the little kids, he'd say, "Have you ever met a wizard?" And the kids would say no or whatever, and look at him like, "What are you talking about?" And he'd say, I happen to know a wizard. Would you like to speak to him?" And the kids were still a little hesitant. And he said, "No, my wizard is on call 24/7. No matter what time of the day or night I pick up the phone, my wizard will talk to you. Would you like to speak to him?" Finally, the kids would say yes. So he'd pick up the phone and he'd dial the wizard. And the wizard would say, "Yes, this is the wizard. Why are you calling me? Would you like me to read your mind?" And the kids would say yes. And they would do this routine where it was a numbers thing, guess a number between 1 and 25 or whatever it was. And this guy would guess the number of whatever the kids were thinking about. And it was a thing, a routine between Ross and Howie. They had their signals. I don't know how they did it over the phone, but it amazed the kids every single time. Their mouth would drop when Howie would come up with whatever number he was thinking of, or they were thinking of. And even though the kids were little at the time, they still remember the wizard. The wizard passed away 2 weeks ago. And it just seems that another part of Ross is gone. Howie and Ross were such buddies. And for them to pass away in the same year, it's just kind of heartbreaking. But I have to say that Howie was pretty upset when Ross became ill. And the wizard and his secrets stay with the wizard. So that's my little story of the wizard and Ross. There are so many nice memories of Ross. He was an amazing guy, and I miss him all the time. So that's my little story I wanted to tell you. I think that's it for now. Before I forget, I have to give a shout out to my #1 fan, Jackson. If you're watching, and I know you are because you are my #1 fan, love you. I want to thank everyone, the new subscribers, people who come back, because I really, really appreciate you. So until next time, I will see you again. Bye-bye now.